Grayslake Central used to be one big school until 2004 when there was a split turning it into North and Central. The split was decided based on voting in the community, and the other option was to have two separate campuses, both still considered central though, allowing for one athletic program. One campus would be freshman and sophomore, while the other would be junior and senior. After the split was finalized, the territories for each school were established, drawing a line using Washington to separate the two different schools. North took the northern half, and Central took the southern half. Grayslake North had started off with only freshmen in the building, then the years after them followed, and once the initial freshmen were the seniors, all four classes were there. They built North because Central was extremely crowded and every single classroom was being used every single period. They even gave juniors the option to leave for lunch because the cafeteria was so full. We sat down with Mr. Centella and asked him how the community reacted to the idea of the split and what he believes was best for the school at that time.
The biggest thing was people in the community were really talking about what's going to be the best for the kids in the long term as far as athletics, opportunities, programs. Obviously when you look at our high school now and you look at Grayslake North, if you combine some of our athletic teams, it would be, pretty dominant. Granted, we would be playing against bigger schools, a little bit better competition, but it's kind of fun to think about if we were all together. But ultimately, I think people in the community made the right decision. Having two separate schools, two separate athletic programs gives kids more opportunities in those areas.
Parents were sending letters to the board, and for the most part, they liked the decision made. For example, Laura Pasternak, a mother of a student in District 127 and had been a member for 12 years, sent a letter to the board saying the decision to make two separate four-year schools was a difficult decision, yet it is the best decision for the long-term growth on this district. After reading some of the letters sent from parents, we talked with Ms. DeLulo about how the split had affected the student life at the school. Since your class was the last class before the split in 2008, how did that affect you throughout high school?
So my class, the class of 2007, was the last class before the split, so we were the last full class. So then the class of 2008, their freshman year, the whole entire freshman class went to North. So then that means that my sophomore year, we were the sophomores in the building, but we had no freshmen in the building. So going into sophomore year, I remember thinking that we felt like we were almost still freshmen because we weren't ever really older than anyone else going into that year. We were still the youngest class in the school, and we didn't have that feeling of having a class lower than us. And the school was a lot less crowded. So my freshman year, before the split, the hallways were so crowded. We had 9 period days in order to alleviate the amount of kids, I think, in lunch hours. Yeah, 9 period days. The classes were like 40 to 45 minutes. And then we also had the option of having early release in our schedule, and juniors and seniors could go out for lunch. So toward the end of the day, the hallways would get less crowded because the seniors would have early release built into their schedule. But I just remember my freshman year, it was congested everywhere you went, every passing period. And then my sophomore year, when the freshman class didn't come in, it just was a little less crowded.
The split has had a lasting impact on all students in the D127 community. It has created a rivalry between us, shown at every sporting event, and even though we live in the same town, the split continues to affect us every day.